Welcome back to the Knuckhead Podcast. Today is game day! The season is back on and the Canucks play tonight against the Calgary Flames, the first game of the season. Actually, you know what? I just realized I'm recording this on Wednesday and it'll be uploaded on Thursday. So you guys are listening after that game took place. So you know what happened. I don't. By the way, here's my prediction. It's actually a very specific prediction for tonight's game. Canucks are going to win 4-1 and Tyler Myers is going to score. Okay? I'll record my reaction in voice memos and put it at the end of this episode, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, this episode is it's going to be me giving my bold predictions for this NHL season. And I asked you guys on Twitter if you had any bold predictions, and I got a lot of replies, so we're going to go through that. And yeah, let's just get into it. Could you imagine if I started every episode with that as the tagline? Let's just get into it. That would be stupid. I'm never going to do that. Anyways, let's just get into it. I'm just going to go ahead and say that I hated that intro, but no more editing the podcasts. Okay, bold predictions. First bold prediction is I think this season is going to be more entertaining than last season, which, in case you missed it, last season was one of the most entertaining seasons in NHL history. And I'm not the only one saying that. It just had so much going. There were so many surprising storylines, so many rivalries, a huge chunk of really talented rookies that were making an impression in the league, from obviously Connor Bedard to Leo Carlsson on the Ducks, what's his name? Adam Fantilli on the Blue Jackets, Logan Cooley on the Arizona Coyotes, who are now the Utah Hockey Club. But yeah, it was an amazing season. And obviously as Canucks fans, that last season was incredible. We got to watch our team, after years of being just absolutely tormented by the team, we got to see our favorite team prove so many doubters wrong all the way up to round 2, game 7 of round 2. It was awesome. It was so special. But not just if you were a Canucks fan, just as a fan of the league, as a fan of hockey, it was a very, very entertaining season. I mean, just think of how it ended, right? You had the Panthers go up against the Oilers in the final. The Oilers go down 3-0, and then they catch up to bring it to game 7, which, by the way, was the first time since 1942 that ever happened in the NHL. And then they lost in game 7. But from beginning to end, last year was a monumentally entertaining season. And I guess my first bold prediction is, yeah, I think this season is going to be, I'm going to say, more entertaining. And my reasoning for it is simple. They're basically the same elements are in play as the last year. I mean, you have another really good group of rookies. You got, obviously, Macklin Celebrini, the first overall pick from the last draft. Who else? Lane Hutson from the Montreal Canadiens. Rutger McGroarty, who had that whole issue. He didn't want to play in Winnipeg, so Winnipeg traded him to Pittsburgh. He cracked the opening lineup that was just announced today, which is honestly awesome for him. And I have a soft spot for Pittsburgh. I like that team. I hope he works his way up the lineup and gets to play with Crosby at some point. I think that would be cool. You have Cutter Gauthier, who actually had basically the identical situation that Rutger McGroarty did. He didn't want to play in Philadelphia, so they traded him to Anaheim. And then obviously on the Flyers, you have Matvei Michkov, the Russian kid who was projected to be second overall behind Bedard, but because there was this whole issue of whether or not, but just they didn't know when he'd come to North America. He was in Russia playing, and there was uncertainty as to when he'd actually come play. So a lot of teams passed up on drafting him because it was just a big question mark. But he fell to 7th overall. Philadelphia drafted him, and he didn't play last year, but he's here now. And in the preseason, he looked pretty damn good. I think he's going to win the Rookie of the Year, the Calder Trophy. I really do. Okay, how about this for a bold prediction? Ovechkin is going to break Gretzky's goal record this year. Unless he gets injured or something, I'm pretty sure we all agree that he's going to beat Gretzky's goal record. But my bold prediction is that he's going to do it this season. And I believe if that is going to happen, he needs to score at least 42 goals. I'm not going to look it up, but it's around there, which would make him the oldest player in NHL history to score 40 goals. So it's a bold prediction, and I think it's going to happen. You never count Ovi out. He's too damn good. What else? I think the Maple Leafs are going to get really close to the Cup final. That's my other bold prediction. I think you just look at that team, and as much as I love to hate on them, actually, you know what's funny? I think a lot of my hate for the Maple Leafs has been transferred to the Oilers, because now I kind of have a soft spot for the Maple Leafs. Like, I kind of want to see them do well in the East. I don't want to see them win the Cup, because that means the Canucks didn't. But hey, a Canucks Maple Leafs final would go hard. How sick would that be? I posted this on Twitter the other day. My prediction for the final 4 teams, and by the way, this is ridiculous to predict the final 4 teams before the season's even started, but I'm doing it anyways. A lot of people did it, and I wanted to join in. I predict the final 4 teams are going to be the Canucks and Stars in the West, and then in the East, the Devils and Maple Leafs. I haven't decided who goes to the Cup final yet, except for I think it's going to be the Canucks. But yeah, I don't know if I'm choosing Devils or Leafs. Anyways, okay. Yeah, so like I said, I asked you guys on Twitter if you had any bold predictions. Not hot takes, that's different. Bold predictions, okay? And I got a lot of responses. So I haven't read any of them though, okay? I'm just gonna read them out loud and respond in real time. So here we go. At Riot Survivor said, DEMKO is out for the season, leading Šilovs to win the Calder and finish top 3 for the Vezina. I don't like the DEMKO being out for the season part, but I love the part about Šilovs winning the Calder and finishing top 3 for Vezina. I could honestly see it. The Canucks are a really good team, and if Šilovs plays even 75% as good as he did in the playoffs last year, he'll be in the conversation for the Vezina, provided he plays enough games, right? I don't really want to entertain the DEMKO being out for the season part too much. By the way, Riot Survivor, you're a legend in Canucks Twitter. I don't even know if you listen to the podcast, but you're a legend. Thank you for replying. That got a lot of likes. Let's see. Does anyone reply to that? Someone said, good take. Yeah, I like it. I just don't like the DEMKO being out for the season. You're scaring me, man. Okay. R Yap said, DEBRUSK new career high in goals incoming. Yeah, okay. I don't even know if that's that bold, though, because let me see here. DEBRUSK, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to have to Google this, but I'm pretty sure his career high is 27 goals. I mean, he's playing with Pettersson. I don't think that's going to be too hard to beat. Yeah, so 2 seasons ago, he hit 27 goals twice in his career, in 2019 and in 2023. Both of those times, he only played between 60 and 70 games. So, yeah, that's not very bold, man. Sorry. If you listen to the podcast, you're getting flamed here. I said bold, okay? Bold. Dan Marchin said, I got the New Jersey Devils winning the President's Trophy, Edmonton not winning the Pacific Division, and the Panthers winning back-to-back Stanley Cups. Okay, well, I'll say it right now. Anytime you predict the Stanley Cup winner being the same Stanley Cup winner as the season before, you're not being bold. Not to be rude, but that's not bold. That's easy, right? You could always just say, oh, I think the team that won last year is going to win again. And then Edmonton not winning the division isn't that bold only because the Canucks are a really good team. And the Canucks won the division last year. So, I mean, I think it's between the Canucks and Edmonton. And if Edmonton doesn't win it, I think they'll just be second. So I don't think that's bold. However, saying the New Jersey Devils win the President's Trophy, even though I said I think they're going to be one of the final 4 teams, I think for most people that might be pretty bold. Yeah, the Devils are a weird team. They had a really bad season last year, but no one really saw that coming. I think the hockey guy, that I'm sure you guys know the hockey guy. If you know me, you know the hockey guy. He predicted at the start of last season that the Devils would win the Cup. And he wasn't weird for that. Like, a lot of people had the Devils doing really well. And then they ended up finishing 5 spots out of a playoff position. 5. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 spots out of a playoff position. They shat the bed hard last season. So, you know, they added Markstrom. They made some other additions. I can't really remember everybody right now. I'm not going to get into it. The point is, I know that they're a better team, at least on paper, than they were last year. And they're coming back with a vengeance. And they have Dougie Hamilton back. That's a big deal. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think that's bold. I think, Dan, none of those were bold. You need to go get bolder. But the boldest was the Devils one. But you could get bolder. KAPRIZOV wins the scoring title from @HoneyRockBeer. Yo, that's a bold prediction. That's a bold prediction. @HoneyRockBeer or Vikingstad said KAPRIZOV wins the scoring title. That means he finishes above McDavid, Draisaitl, McKinnon, Kucherov. Whoo, I don't know. I mean, I guess I can't see him winning the scoring title. I can't, at least not this season when you have McDavid at the prime of his career, playing so well, and MacKinnon. Kucherov is older, but again, I would not be surprised if he puts up another 120 points or something. So that's a good one. That's a bold prediction for sure. At Matthew D. White said, Edmonton plagued by infighting among players and the team implodes after Christmas, not making the playoffs. Oh, I would love to see that. Who do you think would be fighting? Let's think about that. Probably Evander Kane and like Draisaitl. I don't know. They're the two pissiest players I can think of on that team. They'd probably be mad about something. I don't know. I don't know what to expect from Edmonton this year. I don't know if you guys saw, but a lot of the analysts, I think it was on Sportsnet, or I can't remember, but Elliot Friedman and a lot of these guys, I know Friedman's on Sportsnet, but I don't remember who said it. But there was a post made. They all predicted who the Stanley Cup winners were going to be, and just a disgusting, overwhelming amount of them said the Oilers, which again is not bold. It's not bold because it's like they went to the Cup final last year and lost the Cup by 1 goal. You're not being bold by saying the Oilers. You're being safe. However, maybe it's bold of me to say this. I don't think they're going to get to the Cup final again. It's so hard to go to the final 2 years in a row. I know it's happened kind of frequently as of late. You know, you had the Tampa Bay Lightning go 3 times in a row, and Florida just went for the second time after losing the first one and won last year. So it might feel, especially to the young people watching or listening rather, that this is like a very common occurrence. It's not. It's very, very difficult to go to the Cup final 2 years in a row. And if the Oilers do it, I think that would be an anomaly for the NHL. So, well, then I guess by saying that, does that make all those people predicting that they go to the final a bold prediction? I've talked myself into a hole and I don't know how to get out of it, so we're just going to move on. Daniel Den Haan said, Canucks lose to the Devils in the finals in Game 7 this year, but it leads to a rematch next year where we win in 6. That's funny, because I just said it's really hard to go back to the Cup 2 years in a row, and this guy thinks the Canucks and Devils are going to both do it for the next 2 years. Oh, wait a minute. That would be sick. I just realized you got Hughes versus Hugheses. Hughes versus Hughes. You got Hughes versus Hugheses. You got the Hughes versus the Hugheses. The Hughes brothers versus the Hughes brother. That would be sick. That would be sick. I'd pay money to watch that. Not real money, because those tickets would be probably $8 gadillion, and I can't afford that. But yeah, I'd pay like Monopoly money to go see that. Okay, the Daily Recliner said Utah makes the playoffs and beats the Rangers in the first round. That's not possible. Sorry to tell you, but Utah is in the Western Conference. They cannot play the Rangers in the first round. So I guess that might be bold then, because that would require the league to have like a whole different makeup. They would have to move teams around in the middle of the year, change divisions, change conferences. So yeah, that might be the boldest take here, because it's literally impossible. So don't know where to go with that. However, let's say you didn't say the Rangers part. Utah making the playoffs, I actually fully agree. And yeah, I watched the game last night, their home opener against the Blackhawks. And the Blackhawks aren't the best team in the league by any means, but Utah looked good and they were pumped. They were pumped. Like I've talked about this in the podcast so many times, but I don't know what to call it. Vibes, what we can say, just maybe to be funny. I know there's a better word, but the vibes around a team is so important. You can have the best players, you can have the best coaching, but if you don't have the excitement, like this just drive to win, you probably won't win. You know, when you think about Vegas back in 2018, like if you go back and read articles from before that season started, kind of like what we're doing right now, making predictions for an upcoming season, all the professional quote unquote analysts didn't even have them making the playoffs. Okay, I won't say all. I think some may have had them making the playoffs, but the point is nobody had them going into the Cup final. Like nobody with any like respect in the hockey world predicted them to go to the final, and they did. They bowled their way to the final, and it was an incredible run to watch. And they won over that city. Vegas has never looked back. They love that team to death. I actually been to Vegas to go watch one of their games, and it's incredible. It's such a good experience. fuck everybody who says Vegas, like they shouldn't have brought a team to Vegas. Also, fuck everybody who says stop bringing teams to non-Canadian markets. What are you talking about? Grow the game. I want a fucking team in China. Sorry, I'm swearing. I'm really excited for tonight, and I drank 2 coffees. I might swear a little bit, but yeah, I just hate when people are like that. Like, oh, you brought a team to Utah, but not Montreal. You already got a team in Montreal. Oh, you brought a team to Vegas, but not Markham, Ontario? You got 2 teams in Ontario. Come on. I know it's a Canadian sport, and there's a lot of people who are super passionate, super patriotic about that, but share it with people. Also, it's a business, and the Canadian dollar is worth nothing compared to the US dollar, at least right now. So, yeah, look, okay, maybe I angered a lot of people. Bring teams to Utah. Bring another. I want Arizona back. Okay, the fact that Arizona Coyotes exist is the reason why we have Austin Matthews, which is hilarious when you think about how many people in Toronto were probably pissed when Arizona got a team, but now their best player, maybe in franchise history, was a direct product of that. So grow the game, keep growing it. Vegas loves their team. I kind of forget what I'm talking about. Utah loves their team. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Utah making the playoffs. They're going to rally around the excitement of playing in a new city, new fans, new arena, and I think they're going to make the playoffs too. How far they go, I don't know. But for the record, back in 2018 when Vegas joined the league, let's just rewind, pretend we're in 2018 right now, and I said Vegas would make the Cup final. That would be as outlandish as me saying now in 2024 that Utah's going to make the final. Because if I said Utah's going to make the final, everyone's going to be like, yeah, nah, I don't think so. But that's how crazy it was when Vegas did. Anyways, at DXSTYYY said, Canucks trade Demko and keep Šilovs and Lankinen after they realize over the next month or 2 that they are more than good enough. And then in parentheses, they said, I want Demko to stay. Please do not do this. I don't want to entertain any Demko is done ones. I appreciate you submitting your bold prediction, but I'm too mushy at my center to think that Demko is injured in a really scary way. I don't want to think like that because right now that is a very faint possibility. It's not likely, okay, but it's a very faint possibility, and I don't like that. I don't want to think about that. He's going to be back in November, okay? He'll be back in November, and at the worst case scenario in my mind, he'll be back for the playoffs. So no more of those. At SWPMLO, who is a diehard Draisaitl fan, who I believe, not to accuse you, if I'm not mistaken, who I believe really, really beefed with me during the playoffs last year, and we had a good time. He said Oilers in 5 versus Devils for the Cup. Oh yeah, okay, it is this guy, because his second thing was Vegas is going to take care of Vancouver in round 1. No comment. I mean, that is bold because saying the Oilers are going to win the Cup is so unlikely. I want to puke. That's like saying a toddler is going to start a banking firm. So no. At Derovan Rick said, I think Utah makes playoffs. It would be sick if they did. I think the players deserve it. Totally agree. That is bold because they're a rebuilding team still, or retooling, I guess, at this point. Totally agree, though. And also, GUENTHER is a beast. GUENTHER is so good. I could see him getting 40 this year. Honestly, here's a bold take. GUENTHER's getting at least 35 goals this year, in my opinion. We'll see, though. At Hog for Heart, amazing username, said, Wild and Kraken make the playoffs. Oilers and Kings both miss. Okay, that's bold. That's another really bold one for 2 reasons. First of all, Kraken making the playoffs, very possible. Honestly, I'd say they might. They might. And also Kings missing the playoffs, very possible. In fact, I would go ahead and say I agree. I think the Kings are going to miss the playoffs. Those 2 aren't very bold. However, the Wild making the playoffs and the Oilers missing, that's bold. And I like it. I don't think the Wild are going to make the playoffs, and I don't think the Oilers are going to miss the playoffs. But hell, crazy shit happens. We'll see. We'll see. At ACAST22 said, McDavid gets 5 fines for diving by Christmas. I would love that. It's one thing if you get high sticked, but the stick doesn't hit you and you fling your head back. That's a lie. I think lying is stupid and in all cases. Okay? Don't lie. That's breaking the rules. But if a player breaks a rule right, hooks you, and you're worried it wasn't enough for the ref to see, by all means, give your body a little wiggle. Show that you got hooked. I don't actually hate that. And I think that's what McDavid does. I don't see him diving when nothing happens, although I'm sure someone could pull up like a ton of footage of him doing it. Look, yeah, fuck McDavid only because I'm a Canucks fan. I love him though as a player. He's so exciting to watch. But fuck McDavid. Yeah. He better get 10 fines by Christmas. His contract better equal like $1 by the end of this season because he got fined so much. What am I saying? Okay, at Bokchoy57934 said Seattle finishes higher than Vegas in the Pacific. I could see it. That's bold. That's a good one because it's just believable enough, but also just bold enough. That's a good one. I could see it happening, but I don't agree. I think Vegas is just too stacked, and they have a vengeance after getting eliminated in the first round last year. I think they'll be back. At Nasland SW said, Canucks underperform during the regular season, but overperform in the playoffs. Oilers win the Pacific, but are knocked out by Vancouver in round 1. So the Canucks underperform. So if they play the Oilers in the first round, and the Oilers won the Pacific, that means the Canucks have to be the 4th place team. Interesting. I don't love that because that scares me. No comment. At JPA1146 said, Vancouver regresses and misses the playoffs. Did you not hear what I just said? At Prison Bowl said, Oilers missed the playoffs. Woo! Hell yeah! That's bold and I like it. At JDog0721 said, Guenther scores 40. Hey! Is this guy psychic? I said that. I said he gets at least 35. Dude, we're on the same page. Totally agree. Guenther, and he should have been a Canuck, but here's the thing, by the way. A lot of Canucks fans hate how good Guenther is because that pick, I mean, who knows if the Canucks were going to pick him, but that pick was our pick, okay? The Coyotes picked him with the pick we traded to them in that trade that got us Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Connor Garland. But here's the thing. Like, I'm not mad about that because we have Connor Garland. I understand it was one of the worst trades in Canucks history, but we got Connor Garland, and we love Connor Garland. Do you understand? Every time you get pissed that Guenther scores, that means you'd rather not have Garland on the team. Stop. We love Garland. Guenther is in Utah with the Mormons. He's chilling. He's fine, okay? He's fine. He was never going to be a Canuck because we have Garland. But yeah, I agree with you, J1R1. Okay, at Hockey First One said, Oilers are a wildcard team and lose in the first round after being decimated by injuries with the oldest roster in the league and no depth in goal. What? Do the Oilers have the oldest roster in the league? Who has the oldest roster in the NHL? How do I see this? Where is this stat even kept? I don't know. It says the Penguins, but that was July 2024. I don't know. Forget the oldest roster in the league part. They just said Oilers are a wildcard team and lose in the first round after being decimated by injuries. That's a bold prediction, I guess, but it's also like that could happen. Like, I don't know. Like, how are we supposed to predict injuries? You know what I mean? Like, what if I just said the Oilers don't make the playoffs because McDavid and Draisaitl decide they'd rather be professional tennis players and they just, in the middle of the season, decide to go play tennis? It's like, we don't know. Yeah, I don't know. What am I even saying? Okay, I'm moving past that because I don't even really know what to say. Okay, by the way, all I'm thinking about is the fact that in 4 hours, under 4 hours, I'm going to be watching Canuck hockey. Real Canuck hockey. I'm shitting my pants. At C Tree Hill said, oh, okay, wait, they have a few. 1, the Senators will be in the Eastern Conference Finals. Bold. 2, the Avalanche do not make the playoffs. Bold. 3, Patrick Allvin wins Best General Manager. I mean, he is the best general manager, so the bold take would be that he doesn't win it. 4, the Canucks obviously win the cup. Okay, that's not bold. 5, Gritty becomes head coach of the Philadelphia Flyers. What? 6, Edmonton wins the President's Trophy. Man, okay. C Tree Hill, you are all over the place, and I love it. I agree with a couple of these. Canucks win the cup. Patrick Allvin wins Best GM. I'm Nuckhead. Obviously, I agree with those. Gritty becomes head coach of the Philadelphia Flyers. Gritty could become head coach, but he hasn't coached a team before, at least not in the NHL. He's also a mascot, so that's a little problematic. He also doesn't speak, as far as I know. And if he did, it would be probably hard to hear him through the mask. And then he's also like really scary looking. Imagine, okay, the Flyers are down by 1 goal with 50 seconds left in the game. The net is pulled, puck goes out of play, whistle's blown, Gritty calls a timeout. Does he just stare at the players? Like they're huddled around the bench and he's just staring at them? I would be so scared if I was on the Flyers. Michkov would go back to Russia at that point. You know, like I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, it's bold because that would be insane. But I don't know if I agree with that. Senators will be in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Senators are very much like the Devils. Not as good as the Devils, but in terms of like, actually, no, the Senators are very much, the Senators are like in this group of teams that everyone's been saying should take the next step soon. Specifically like Buffalo and kind of Montreal, but mainly Buffalo. But like Buffalo and the Senators are so similar in my mind. They're both very well constructed. Like they have a lot of great players, but for some reason they can't win. So the Senators being in the conference finals is bold as hell. But like at the same time, if they got there and then we looked at their roster, I think we'd be like, oh yeah, I mean, they got a good team. Do you know what I mean? It's not like if the Blackhawks made it, we'd be like, okay, they have Bedard and Hull and Teravainen and Kurashev, but like who else? Seth Jones, I guess. You know what I mean? But the Senators have a good team. A lot would have to go right for them. That's bold. I like it. The Avalanche not making the playoffs is insane. I mean, you can't count out players like McKinnon or McDavid or Draisaitl or Crosby. You just can't. You can never count them out. They're too good. They're too good. Okay, Big Hog Hockey 021 said Lekkerimaki will pass Gretzky's goal record this year. I don't think Lekkerimaki is going to play enough games to score 895 goals, but that's a bold take. At Tallflick said Austin Matthews scores 8 hat tricks for an almost record. That's funny. Maybe. I don't know what the record is for that. No comment on that. Scotty Too Hottie said Leafs will miss the playoffs entirely and Canucks acquire Chris Tanev. Hey, so I think the Leafs are going to go far in the playoffs this year. I really do. But if they miss the playoffs and Chris Tanev becomes available for trade at the deadline, I would scream at the idea. I would punch walls at the idea. I would lift cars. I would flip cars I wouldn't flip cars. I'd be very happy if the Canucks acquired Chris Tanev. He is one of my favorite Canucks of all time. So that's a bold take and I like it. At DEMKO Enthusiast said Oilers blowout of catastrophic proportions, lose first or second round after placing third in regular season, don't make playoffs for 4+ years. Okay, wait, this is not a bold prediction for this year. This is a bold prediction for this year and the next 4 after. So Oilers blowout of catastrophic proportions. I think you mean like they just blow out. What does that mean? Oilers blowout. I know what you mean. They just start sucking. Okay. Lose first or second round after placing third in the regular season and then don't make the playoffs for 4+ years. You're just being a hater and I love it, honestly. So good on you there. Grefferal Lords said Hughes wins the Hart. When was the last time a defenseman won the Hart? Hart Trophy NHL defense. Oh, here. Oh, okay. No, Chris Pronger was the last one to win the Hart Trophy as a defenseman, and that was okay. Yeah, that was 25. That was 24 years ago. Not that matters. Maybe if anything, you could argue that means that defensemen's due to win the Hart. But it's such a high-scoring league now that if you have players getting 150 points, unless Hughes also gets 150 points, I don't see how he could win the Hart. But hey, I'm a Canucks fan, so yeah, he's winning the Hart. Canucks Cup 2027. Whoa, that's a cool username. What do you know? Why is your username Canucks Cup 2027? When did you make your account? Hold up. What the hell's going on here? He made the account in August of 2023? Who is this? I'm going to keep my eye on you. At Canucks Cup 2027 said, I think Šilovs has a shot at the Calder if he can get enough games in. Woo! I know someone else said that. I believe that was Riot Survivor. But I agree with it more now for some reason. Maybe because there was no DEMKO shit involved in it. So maybe that's why. Yeah, Šilovs could win the Calder, but he'd have to beat out Celebrini, Cutter Gauthier, McGroarty, Michkov, Leo Carl. Is Leo Carl? No, not Leo Carlson. Hell yeah, fuck it. He's winning the Calder. Mike Concho said, Huberdeau hits 100 points again. Dude, I totally agree. I just don't think you can be a 115-point player and then just not be even an 80-point player ever again. Like, how do you not... Like, where did he go down from? Here, 1 second. Huberdeau. Let's see. Yeah, he went from 115 points to 55 the next season and then 52 the season after. What? He changed teams. He went from the Panthers to the Flames, as we all know. But, like, do we really think he's never going to get even 80 points again? I kind of think he'll have a bounce-back season, even though the Flames suck this year. Who knows? Anyway, that was it for all your bold predictions. Next week, we have Diener HD coming back on the podcast. That's right. Diener HD, ladies and gentlemen. He'll be back next week, and hopefully that'll be the start of a string of guests, so you won't have to hear me just babbling on for a little bit. Although you guys do seem to like it, which blows my mind. So maybe I'll squeak in some solo episodes here and there. But yeah, Diener HD's on next week. We're going to talk about the first couple games of Canucks hockey, and it should be good. Anyways, I'm going to say goodbye for now, but right after I say goodbye, you'll hear my reaction to tonight's game as I drive home from my family's house. So, yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Canucks are going to win 4-1 tonight, and Myers is going to score. Let's see if I'm right. Bye.
Okay, I'm in the car, just finished the game. Basically what I think is, nah, just kidding. More what I'm thinking is, what a game. I mean, what a game. The first period was incredible. That was sick. That was awesome. Miller, I mean, you never want to see someone get injured, but it wasn't the hit that injured him. It was, Kevin Rooney, I think his first name's Kevin. Kevin Rooney falling into the boards. His head hit the boards because of a Miller hit. But the actual impact of the hit did not injure him. So I can safely say that Miller crushed him. But it's really unfortunate that he was I think, knocked out on the play. But that led to some crazy shit. Every Flames player was going after Miller. Miller finally settled the score with Mantha. I'm not going to review the game. That's for the video. The point is, the Canucks were up 4-1 all game. Myers did not score, and then but the Calgary caught up, tied at 4-4. Then they scored, made it 5-4. Obviously, I wasn't worried. I knew the Canucks would tie it up, and they did in incredible fashion. Fucking Hughes blocked an empty net attempt and then passed it up to Miller, and Miller slapped it over the shoulder of Vladar. It was beautiful, and then they went into overtime and lost. So it was fine. It was fine. I know everyone's all mad they blew the lead, but it was the first game of the season. Obviously, there's going to be a little rust, and the Canucks went up in the first period 4-1 and then just sat back for 2 periods and basically let the Flames catch up. Šilovs let in a few dookie goals, I'll be honest. I think one definite dookie goal. Anyways, the point is, everyone's pretty rattled, I think, or a lot of Canucks fans are rattled. But look, the Oilers lost 6-0, I believe, on home ice last night. That's not confirmed. I have not checked, okay? But I think it was home ice. Regardless, home or away, they lost 6-0. They have the best 2 forwards in the league! And if you don't want to count Draisaitl as number 2, that's fine. But McDavid is the best forward in the league. Probably going to go down as the best player to ever play alongside Gretzky, right? And they got 0 goals. Now, it's game 1, right? But, come on. You lost game 7 in the Stanley Cup final by 1 goal. Don't you want to come out with a bang? Because they lost last season's first game against the Canucks 8-1, right? Of course they want to come out and win the first game of the season. At least lose 3-2. Don't lose 6-0. 6-0? Anyways, okay. Canucks blew the lead, but honestly, guys, I think it's fine. I mean, it is fine. Who cares? It was a great game. That's all that matters. The Canucks got a point out of it. Sure, an extra point would have been nice, but it's a game 1, okay? And they got it. Maybe I think they need a reminder that they are going to be a team that that their opponents are ready to play against. Like, they are no longer a team that will surprise people. Last year, they got away with a lot because teams would go into Vancouver, play games against Vancouver, thinking that, you know, not that it would be easy, absolutely not, especially on the second half of the season. But you know, teams underestimated Vancouver. They did. Now they're not doing that anymore. The Canucks are projected to be one of the best teams in the league this year, and I think the Canucks know that, and their opponents know that. And that first game is the perfect example of what can happen if the Canucks don't sharpen up and go, hey, yes, we're a good team now, but we have to play like we're a bad team, like we were last year. You know what I mean? Not play like we're a bad team, but play like we're proving something. You know, they need to play like they're proving something again. They can't just play on the idea that, oh, we've already proven ourselves. We're good. We're playing Calgary. They're projected to be a last place team. We're up 4-1 in the first period. Game over. They can't do that. So honestly, this is a huge positive because they learned in the first game that you can't do that. Okay? Well, you know what? Let's hope they learned. Okay? I guess we can't say that they learned yet because what if they go do it in the next 3 games? But Rick Tocchet is an incredible coach. The rest of the coaching staff are incredible. They are going to hammer this into the players. Look what happens if you guys get cocky. Anyways, knuckhead out. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.